Tonight, breaking news, the horrific start to the new year. At least 15 people killed and dozens hurt when a truck plows into a crowd celebrating in New Orleans. An ISIS flag found at the scene. And the news just coming in, why authorities think the suspect didn't act alone. Surveillance video showing a white pickup truck before it veered right into a crowd of pedestrians racing down Bourbon Street for at least 3 blocks. The driver firing at officers and people in the street with an assault-style rifle before he was stopped by police. Heavily armed officers racing through the city's French Quarter. A terrifying scene of carnage. Victims lying in the street. Authorities finding viable explosives in the truck and elsewhere in the popular tourist area. The FBI identifying the man they say is responsible, an American citizen who lived in Texas, who had an ISIS flag inside the truck he was driving. They say he clearly wanted to hurt as many people as he could.
He was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did.
They're now investigating whether he had any ties to the terrorist group ISIS, why the FBI is saying he did not act alone, what we're learning about the truck, a rental driven Tuesday from the Houston area, and questions about the barriers that might have stopped him from plowing down Bourbon Street. The concerns for the wider threat ahead of major college games and the Super Bowl. The Sugar Bowl now postponed until tomorrow. Some other public events canceled. We have team reporting from New Orleans and across the country. Details coming in of the investigation into a deadly explosion and fire at the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. A Tesla Cybertruck erupting in a fireball. Tonight, authorities treating it as a possible act of terrorism. What we've just learned. The deadly New Year's Eve tragedy in Honolulu. At least 3 people killed, dozens hurt. Millions brace for a major Arctic blast sweeping in from Canada, bringing gusts up to 55 miles per hour from Washington, D.C. to Boston. Our weather team standing by to time it all out.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and thank you for starting the new year with us. I'm Mary Bruce, in for David. We begin tonight with the horrific and deadly attack in New Orleans. At least 15 killed and dozens more injured when a driver rammed a rented pickup truck into a crowd on Bourbon Street around 3 a.m., just hours into the new year. The FBI now investigating it as an act of terrorism. Law enforcement now reviewing this surveillance video showing the white pickup truck driving down Canal Street before turning right into Bourbon Street. The suspect mowing down dozens of people over a 3-block stretch, turning the typically festive and iconic Bourbon Street into a deadly scene of carnage and chaos. Dramatic video capturing the moment police exchange gunfire with the suspect. Authorities saying he died in that exchange. 2 police officers were also injured but are in stable condition. Authorities releasing this image of the 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, an Army veteran and U.S.-born citizen. Police now asking anyone with information to come forward. Tonight, why the FBI says the suspect did not act alone, the chilling accounts from eyewitnesses, and what we are learning about the victims. And President Biden speaking just moments ago. ABC's Trevor Ault leads us off in New Orleans with the new details coming in tonight.
Tonight, state, federal, and local authorities searching for possible accomplices after a 42-year-old man from Texas flying an ISIS flag barreled a rented Ford F-150 pickup down Bourbon Street, killing at least 15 people and injuring dozens more.
He was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did.
Law enforcement tracking this disturbing surveillance video showing the pickup coming down Canal Street around 3:15 this morning before veering right into pedestrians.
We have dozens of people that got hit by this car.
You just heard this squeal and like the rev of an engine and then this huge loud impact and then the people screaming.
This video shot from a Bourbon Street balcony showing bodies laying in the middle of the street. Jimmy Cothran was his group's designated driver.
We ran upstairs, and when we got on the balcony, what we saw was insanity. I mean, something out of a movie. The graphic nature of it, and it was unbelievable. We instantly counted I'd say 10 bodies.
Authorities identifying the suspect as 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, a U.S. citizen and Army veteran from Texas. They say he was speeding down Bourbon, wearing body armor and firing an AR-style rifle out of the truck, racing about 3 blocks before crashing, then stepping out and opening fire again, wounding 2 police officers. Authorities returning fire, the suspect dead at the scene, this image showing his body laying next to that truck. And inside that Ford F-150, authorities say they found multiple homemade pipe bombs packed with nails. And sources tell ABC News on that flagpole, wrapped in that gray jacket, is a black flag bearing the ISIS insignia. Police spending much of the day scouring downtown New Orleans, detonating multiple possible IEDs in multiple locations. ATF agents swarming this home 2 miles away, believed to be an Airbnb linked to the suspect.
We do not believe that Jabbar was solely responsible. We are aggressively running down every lead, including those of his known associates. That's why we need the public's help. We are asking if anybody has any interactions with Shamsuddin Jabbar in the last 72 hours, that you contact us.
The attack coming as every law enforcement officer in the city was on duty, with thousands of New Year's revelers and football fans in town for the Sugar Bowl, all packing the French Quarter. In this EarthCam video, nearly a dozen officers seen on Bourbon Street, not far from the attack, racing toward the danger. The FBI now leading the investigation, authorities looking at how the suspect was able to get down Bourbon Street, which is usually blocked off by security barriers. But after multiple malfunctions, they were in the process of being replaced. There were vehicles blocking Bourbon Street, but as that video shows, the suspect went on the sidewalk.
We had barriers there, we had officers there, and they still got around. So we did indeed have a plan, but the terrorist defeated it.
And tonight, the stories of the innocent victims are coming into focus. 18-year-old Nikaira Dido from Gulfport, Mississippi. She was set to start nursing school this month. 37-year-old Reggie Hunter, who came to New Orleans from Baton Rouge with a cousin on a whim.
And just living your life, trying to have fun, and for this to happen to you is senseless.
And 27-year-old Nicole Perez, her employer, says she was a great mom.
She was being a mother and a father, and she was doing a really good job.
We are thinking of the victims' families tonight. Trevor with us now from New Orleans. And Trevor, the FBI tonight believes the suspect did not act alone.
That's right, Mary, and one indication to authorities that this suspect did have help with those multiple potential IEDs found in other parts of the city. And the FBI is now urging anyone who had contact with this suspect in the past 72 hours to contact the authorities immediately. Mary.
Okay, Trevor, thank you. We're joined now by our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky. And Aaron, what are your sources zeroing in on tonight?
It's a fast-moving investigation, Mary, and it's already taken investigators beyond New Orleans to Houston, where there's a home being searched right now. Authorities are telling the public to stay away from it. And the real focus, of course, is on the suspect. Jabbar is not the first member of the U.S. military to become radicalized. Tonight, we're told that the authorities believe his radicalization occurred online and within the last several years. They're also studying videos he apparently made while driving from Texas to Louisiana. They're dark, so you can't see him, but on those videos, sources tell us he talks about divorce. He talks about wanting to kill his family before ultimately deciding to carry out his attack in New Orleans in the name of ISIS. Mary?
Okay, Aaron, thank you. Authorities are describing the suspect as hell-bent on carnage. Tonight, the questions about the motivation behind the attack. Police looking into the military veteran's background and possible ties to terrorist organizations. Here's ABC's Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas.
This man in this YouTube video talking about real estate.
I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston.
Is believed to be the suspect seen here lying on the ground after a violent encounter with police. Described as a cold-blooded terrorist who methodically prepared for his attack. The FBI now launching a massive investigation into the background of Shamsuddin Jabbar, a 42-year-old military veteran. He served in Afghanistan more than a decade ago, from February 2009 to January 2010. Tonight, the top priorities of the investigation. What exactly are his ties to ISIS beyond that flag that authorities recovered from his vehicle, used as a battering ram?
An ISIS flag was located on the trailer hitch of the vehicle, and the FBI is working to determine the subject's potential associations and affiliations with terrorist organizations.
And officials openly expressing their concern that Jabbar had help. Investigators are also focusing on the assault-style rifle and handgun recovered from the scene, and multiple IEDs found in the vehicle and other places in the French Quarter. ATF tracking the purchase of the firearms, and authorities plan to dissect each one of the IEDs to determine where the components were bought. Investigators also looking into the Ford truck, which sources say was rented through a car-sharing company and spotted multiple times in the Houston area yesterday. It was last seen in Baytown, Texas, on I-10 heading east. Mary, every federal intelligence and law enforcement agency is working tonight to come up with a profile of the suspect and to determine who are his associates and if he had any help.
Still so many questions. Pierre, thank you. The Sugar Bowl game between Notre Dame and Georgia now delayed until tomorrow, a rare and extraordinary step for a major sporting event. Authorities say the postponement was in the best interest of public safety and not because of any specific security threat. ABC's Christiane Cordero is outside the Superdome in New Orleans tonight. Christiane?
Mary, officials announced their decision to postpone tonight's game here at the Superdome just hours before kickoff, after bowl organizers, law enforcement, ESPN, and the universities all agreed postponing the game was the appropriate course of action, adding there was no specific security threat at the stadium. The game will now take place tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern. We've seen police here today using drones for surveillance. Authorities say they've deployed bomb-sniffing dogs around the stadium and are locking down the surrounding area through the game tomorrow night. Georgia, one of the schools playing in the game, issuing a statement today that one of its students was critically injured in the ramming attack and is receiving medical treatment. And Mary, tonight authorities are promising to make addressing any security deficiencies a top priority ahead of the Super Bowl, which is scheduled to take place right here at the Superdome in just over a month. Mary?
That security protocol getting another look. Christiane, thank you. Both President Biden and President-elect Trump are responding to the deadly attack. So let's bring in ABC's Elizabeth Schulze at the White House. And Elizabeth, President Biden speaking just moments ago about the investigation.
Yes, Mary, President Biden says he was notified by the FBI that the suspect did post online hours before the attack, indicating he was inspired by ISIS. President Biden saying the situation tonight is fluid, but vowing all federal support.
I directed my team to make sure every resource is made available to federal, state, and local law enforcement, to complete the investigation in New Orleans quickly, and to make sure there's no remaining threat to the American people.
The president says that the nation will stand with the people of New Orleans as they mourn and heal in the weeks ahead. President-elect Trump also weighing in tonight, writing in a post, "Our hearts are with all the innocent victims and their loved ones," calling this an act of pure evil. Mary.
Elizabeth, thank you. Also developing tonight, a Tesla Cybertruck exploding outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. Police tonight treating the blast as a possible act of terrorism. An official telling ABC News the truck was packed with fireworks-style mortars. The driver killed, 7 others were injured. And late today, Tesla CEO Elon Musk weighing in. Here's ABC's Mola Lenghi.
This is the moment a Tesla Cybertruck exploded into a fireball right outside the entrance to the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas.
This is going to be a Cybertruck.
We have a total of 8 victims.
Tonight, authorities reviewing these videos as part of their investigation, treating this as a possible act of terrorism, among other possibilities, according to an official briefed. That Cybertruck was loaded with fireworks-style mortars on board, as well as a gas can and fuel. Multiple secondary explosions could be seen after the initial blast, sending debris flying. Authorities say the 2024 Cybertruck arrived at the hotel around 8:40 a.m. local time, parked, then burst into flames.
It pulled right up to the glass entrance doors of the hotel. We saw that smoke start showing from the vehicle, and then a large explosion from the truck occurs. There is one deceased individual in the Cybertruck.
At least 7 other people were hurt.
I'm going to show you that first video. The fact that this was a Cybertruck really limited the damage that occurred inside of the valet because it had most of the blast go up through the truck and out.
Tonight, Tesla CEO Elon Musk posting on X saying the explosion was caused by very large fireworks and/or a bomb carried in the bed of the rented Cybertruck and is unrelated to the vehicle itself. The blast coming just hours after the deadly terror attack in New Orleans and raising further suspicions given Elon Musk's close ties to President-elect Trump.
And Mary, a motive has yet to be determined. Tonight, we're also learning that the Cybertruck was rented using the Turo app. That's the same app that was used to rent the truck in the New Orleans attack. Mary?
Yet another thing authorities are looking at. Mola, thank you. And now to a deadly fireworks explosion outside a home in the Honolulu area. 3 people killed and dozens more injured during a New Year's Eve celebration. First responders racing to the scene. The injured rushed to local hospitals, many in critical condition. What we are learning tonight about the investigation. Here's ABC's Stephanie Ramos.
It started as a joyous New Year's celebration in Honolulu, but a few blocks from the crowd gathered on this balcony near Pearl Harbor, the celebration at one home turned deadly. You can see and hear a wave of violent explosions in the distance. Officials say at least 3 people were killed at the scene, dozens of people injured, most in critical condition with burn and blast wounds. Officials say the massive explosions were caused by illegal fireworks.
Mary, the governor called it a painful reminder of the danger posed by illegal fireworks. Officials say for some of the first responders who have been to war, the wounds reminded them of some of the things they'd seen in combat. Mary.
Just awful. Stephanie, thank you. We do have much more news here ahead. We're tracking the powerful Arctic blast and the high wind warnings for the east. Next tonight, millions in the eastern half of the country are bracing for a powerful Arctic blast that's sweeping in from Canada. Overnight, nature also putting on its own show in the New York area. The city's skyline lit up by bursts of lightning and thunder as powerful storms swept through right before midnight. So let's bring in meteorologist Jeff Smith from our New York station, WABC.
And Mary, that cold air being ushered in on a very strong northwesterly wind. I can feel it here in New York City. Wind alerts up for the I-95 corridor right through the day tomorrow. Some of the stronger winds near Washington, D.C. will be moving up into Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston into tomorrow, maybe gusting up to about 55 miles per hour. That in combination with the cold will send wind chills well below zero in places like Minneapolis and Chicago even by Saturday morning. Washington, D.C. feeling like 13 by Sunday morning. An even more extreme piece of cold air with a piece of the polar vortex will move into the central part of the country by the middle part of next week. And of course, the cold air blowing over the relatively warmer waters of the Great Lakes could be depositing feet of snow east of Lakes Erie and Ontario. Mary?
A cold and snowy start to the year for so many, Jeff. Thank you. And when we come back here, the new attacks on the New York City subway. To the index now, authorities here in New York are investigating a series of subway attacks in the past 48 hours. A suspect has been charged with pushing a man into the path of an incoming train. The victim was pulled from between the subway cars. He is now in stable condition. And today, 2 men were stabbed in separate attacks. And President-elect Trump says he will attend former President Jimmy Carter's funeral next week in Washington, D.C. Trump, who had been critical of Carter on the campaign trail, said on Sunday after Carter's death that the nation owed the 39th president a debt of gratitude, saying he worked hard to make America a better place. And when we come back, the latest from New Orleans. Before we go, we want to return to New Orleans and ABC's Trevor Ault standing by from the French Quarter. And Trevor, you're now learning more about the suspect.
Yes, Mary. So one senior U.S. official tells ABC News they believe this suspect was possibly radicalized within just the past few years and was possibly further radicalized by the Gaza war. Now, here in New Orleans, as you might imagine, this is a massive crime scene, and it is a very active one still at that. Behind me, just down the block there, that is the iconic Bourbon Street where this attack occurred. You can see FBI investigators that are coming in and out. The coroner's van is there, and those floodlights that they brought in to light up the scene, as investigators will likely be here through the night. Now, this is one of the most lively areas for tourists in the entire country. There are still tens of thousands of people around the French Quarter, and security remains very tight and very tense, especially given the fact this suspect likely did not act alone, and there could very well be co-conspirators who are still on the run tonight, Mary.
Trevor Ault tracking it all for us from New Orleans tonight. Thank you. Stay with ABC News for continuous updates from New Orleans on ABC News Live and abcnews.com and the latest on GMA in the morning. I'm Mary Bruce. Have a good night.
With so much at stake, more Americans turn here. ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast.